I never imagined a single afternoon could change everything about how I saw myself. It all started during history class, of all places. Mr. Hastings, our teacher, had always been intense, meticulous, the kind of teacher who could make you sit on the edge of your seat without raising his voice. That day, he announced a special session after school, something about learning advanced memory techniques. Curiosity piqued, I volunteered, never knowing how literally the words would come to haunt me. The classroom was empty by the time I returned. Mr. Hastings dimmed the lights, and the familiar scent of old books mixed with a hint of something unfamiliar, calming. "Relax," he said softly, his voice smoother than usual. "Just follow my instructions and let yourself focus. This will help you concentrate better, improve your memory, and your potential." I sat down, feeling my heart hammering in my chest. The first few moments were normal enough, deep breaths, closing my eyes, listening to the rhythm of his voice. But slowly, his words started to feel magnetic, almost mesmerizing. "Picture yourself as your best self," he murmured. "The version of you everyone admires. Every step you take, every glance you give, makes others notice your charm, your grace." I laughed nervously, shaking my head. What is he talking about? But I couldn't move, couldn't speak. His voice felt like a tether, pulling me into a haze. "Focus on feeling, feminine, confident, desirable. Imagine your appearance subtly changing, your posture, your mannerisms, aligning with what everyone will adore." I tried to resist, but the words seeped into me like water. My body felt lighter, my limbs slack, my chest warm. I opened my eyes briefly and caught a glimpse of myself in the reflection of the blackboard glass, and froze. My hands looked delicate. My shoulders narrower. Even my face, in the dim light, seemed softer. This can't be real, can it? Before I could comprehend, Mr. Hastings leaned closer, his voice a soft murmur. "You will feel drawn to please, to be noticed, to stand out as the one everyone admires. You will want to wear clothes that enhance this presence, this charm." My stomach twisted with embarrassment, curiosity, and something else I couldn't name. I felt my lips part involuntarily, the sound of my own breathing seeming almost different, lighter, softer. When he finally released me from the session, I sat there stunned, heart racing. I felt different. The walk home was strange, each step lighter, my posture altered. My reflection in shop windows caught my attention, and I barely recognized myself. My hair seemed fuller, my eyes brighter, my expression softer. I shook my head, trying to laugh it off. "It's just imagination," I whispered. But deep down, a thrill curled in my stomach. Something had changed. The next morning, school felt surreal. Every glance from classmates seemed amplified. I caught whispers as I walked down the hall, the sound of laughter and murmurs blending into a dizzying symphony. I felt self-conscious, yet part of me wanted to be noticed. The heels I had unconsciously picked from my wardrobe for the day clicked softly against the floor, and I realized I had walked out wearing them. Did I choose them, or did something inside me just decide? In class, Mr. Hastings gave me a look, a subtle tilt of the head, a soft, approving smile. My heart skipped. I could feel the pull of his gaze, the odd warmth in my chest. Every time I answered a question, I found myself curving my posture, letting my movements be smaller, more graceful. It felt natural and terrifying. During lunch, I barely recognized my own reflection in the cafeteria glass. I noticed subtle changes, the sway of my hips, the curve of my back, the softness in my gestures. My friends noticed too, though they tried to hide it. "You look different," one whispered, tilting his head. I laughed nervously, brushing it off. "Different? I feel different. I am different." By the end of the first week, I realized the hypnotic effect wasn't just about Mr. Hastings' voice, it was about how I felt when I tried to obey it, to embody his words. I started experimenting secretly. At home, in my room, I tried on clothes I'd never worn before, skirts, soft blouses, delicate fabrics. Each garment made me feel strange, exposed, yet thrillingly alive. My hands, now smaller and softer, traced the lines of my body, feeling curves I hadn't noticed before. Makeup became a secret fascination. I borrowed a few items from my sister: lip gloss, mascara, subtle blush, and practiced in front of the mirror for hours. Each stroke, each adjustment, revealed something new. My reflection started to feel like a friend, a version of me I could admire. Is this me? Or the hypnotic suggestion? I couldn't tell, but I didn't care. The thrill of discovering this side of myself was intoxicating. Even my voice shifted unconsciously. Reading aloud, whispering to myself, I found a softness I hadn't known existed. "You will be your teacher's favorite," Mr. Hastings had said. And somehow, that phrase echoed in my mind constantly. I wanted to please. I wanted to embody that image, fully and unapologetically. The weekend brought new experiments. I ventured outside in clothes and heels I never would have dared in normal circumstances. Walking down the streets, feeling the subtle attention of strangers, my heart raced. Some looked curious, others admiring, and every glance sent shivers through me. I started practicing subtle gestures, a tilt of the head, a shift in my weight, the way I held my hands. Every small action made me feel more aligned, more visible, more alive. By Sunday evening, I had developed a rhythm. Even when alone, I would practice my expressions, my voice, my posture. I noticed the smallest details, how a soft smile could tilt perception, how a glance could feel magnetic, how confidence, even simulated, could change the way I moved through space. My internal dialogue became a constant balancing act between embarrassment, fear, and exhilaration. The second week brought a mix of fear and thrill. Mr. Hastings' presence felt magnetic. Every time he looked at me in class, I felt an inexplicable pull to stand straighter, smile softer, move more gracefully. He gave subtle instructions in passing: pay attention, but remember to shine. Your confidence is growing, excellent. Every comment, every nod, reinforced the hypnotic pull, the sense that I existed to embody his ideal. Yet, the deeper I went into this, the more conflicted I felt. In private, I questioned myself. Am I doing this for me? Or just to please him? But the truth was undeniable, I had begun to enjoy it. The sensation of being noticed, admired, and even subtly controlled was intoxicating. The lines between suggestion and desire blurred. By midweek, the transformation was undeniable. My friends noticed the shift, subtle, but visible. I walked differently, spoke differently, even laughed differently. Every movement felt deliberate, poised. And yet, it didn't feel forced. It felt right. Private experimentation intensified. I tried different outfits, combining textures and colors to accentuate curves. I explored my hair in multiple styles, practiced subtle makeup techniques, and adjusted my posture in ways that made the reflection in the mirror feel like a revelation. The reflections smiled back at me with an almost seductive confidence I hadn't known existed before the hypnotic sessions. The climax came on Friday, during the class presentation. Mr. Hastings had asked me to present a topic I had been studying, and as I approached the front, my heart pounded. The heels I wore clicked deliberately against the floor. Every eye was on me. I could feel the hypnotic suggestion coursing through me: shine, charm, captivate. I began speaking, and for the first time, I realized I wasn't just reading words, I was performing them, embodying a persona that commanded attention. The class hung on every word. Mr. Hastings' approving smile felt like a warm spotlight. And in that moment, I understood something profound. This was no longer just about his suggestion. It was about discovering a side of myself I had never dared to express. After the presentation, a wave of exhilaration and relief washed over me. I had stepped fully into the persona, and it had felt natural, effortless. My classmates complimented my style, my poise, my confidence. Mr. Hastings nodded subtly, a look of satisfaction on his face. And for the first time, I felt a mixture of fear and empowerment, the intoxicating balance of vulnerability and strength. In private, I reflected on the hypnotic influence. Yes, it had guided me, nudged me, transformed me, but the core of the change was mine. I had chosen to explore, to experiment, to embrace the feminine confidence that had always been dormant within me. By the weekend, I was no longer hiding. I wore clothes that expressed the persona I had developed, walked taller, smiled brighter, and spoke with a soft confidence. Every step outside felt like a declaration of authenticity. The hypnosis had been a catalyst, but the empowerment, the courage, the allure, those were my own. Even now, weeks later, the memory of those sessions remains vivid. The sensation of transformation, the thrill of discovery, and the joy of self-expression linger. I learned that sometimes, a single moment, an unexpected influence, can unlock doors we never knew existed. And the truth? I wouldn't change a thing. I had been hypnotized, yes, but I had discovered myself. And in that revelation, I found freedom, confidence, and the courage to embrace every facet of who I truly am. The Monday after my first hypnotic session was surreal. Walking into class, I could feel every glance, every subtle whisper. My friends tried to act normal, but I caught the flicker of surprise in their eyes. My steps felt lighter, my movements softer. Even the sound of my own voice, slightly higher, a little gentler, made me pause. Is this really me? Or is this him? Mr. Hastings' eyes followed me in a way that made my stomach twist. He didn't say anything, just that subtle approving smile, the kind that made me want to stand taller, move with more elegance, even without thinking about it. I found myself adjusting my posture instinctively, shoulders back, chin slightly raised. Every answer I gave to his questions was measured, soft, careful, yet full of charm. By lunchtime, the transformation was no longer subtle. Sitting with friends, I noticed how differently I carried myself. I found my legs crossed delicately, my hands resting lightly in my lap. When someone nudged me jokingly, I laughed, a soft, melodic sound that made me flush with embarrassment and fascination at the same time. Who is this? I wondered. Am I doing this, or is it just happening? After school, I snuck back to my room, my heart still hammering. I couldn't resist examining myself in the mirror. The reflection was mesmerizing. My eyes seemed brighter, my lips fuller, my hair softer. The subtle changes the hypnosis had induced made me feel different. More alive, more visible. And yet, a wave of panic hit me. What if someone notices? What if I can't control this? Curiosity won over fear. I began experimenting, slowly at first, then with growing confidence. I tried on soft blouses I'd never considered, skirts that swayed lightly as I moved. My fingers traced the fabrics, marveling at how the textures felt against my skin. Even my voice shifted when I spoke to myself in the mirror, soft and melodic, teasing the edges of flirtation. Each small experiment was thrilling, terrifying, and utterly intoxicating. I found myself practicing gestures, tilting my head, crossing my legs in a more deliberate, elegant way, flicking my hair softly over my shoulder. I discovered the subtle power of a glance, the way posture could command attention even in a crowded room. Each movement felt like unlocking a hidden code, a secret part of myself I hadn't dared to explore before. By midweek, I ventured outside in subtle ways. A short walk to the corner store became an experiment in public exposure. Every step in my heels clicked against the pavement, drawing the attention of passers-by. My pulse raced, my stomach fluttered, yet I walked taller, shoulders back, head held high. Each glance I received sent a shiver through me, a mixture of fear, embarrassment, and a thrilling sense of empowerment. At home, I continued my private explorations. I tried different outfits, experimented with makeup, just a touch of blush, a dab of lip gloss, mascara that made my eyes pop. Each trial was a revelation, a small confirmation that this side of me wasn't just a fleeting illusion, it was real, tangible, and exhilarating. Thursday brought an unexpected challenge. Mr. Hastings asked me to read a passage aloud in front of the class. My heart lurched as I stood, every eye on me. My heels clicked softly against the floor as I approached the front, and I felt the familiar pull of his hypnotic suggestion: shine, captivate, be admired. I spoke, and for the first time, I realized I wasn't just reading words, I was performing them. Each gesture, each glance, each soft inflection in my voice held a power I hadn't known I possessed. The class hung on every word, and Mr. Hastings' approving not only heightened my awareness. I felt exposed, yet strangely exhilarated. Returning to my seat, my heart still racing, I caught the reflection of myself in the polished classroom windows. I didn't recognize the girl looking back. The curve of my hips, the tilt of my head, the softness of my expression, it was me, but transformed. I could feel the hypnotic influence, yes, but also the thrill of owning it, experimenting with it, becoming someone entirely new. By Friday, the transformation had taken on a rhythm. I moved with intention, spoke with subtlety, and carried myself in a way that commanded attention without effort. Even friends noticed. "You look different," one said, tilting his head, trying to read me. I smiled softly, brushing it off, though inside I felt a strange surge of pride. Different? I'm evolving. That evening, I couldn't resist another private session of experimentation. I tried a slightly bolder outfit, one with flowing fabric that accentuated my movements. I practiced walking, tilting my hips, softening my voice, perfecting the subtle, magnetic gestures that seemed to come naturally now. Each adjustment revealed more of the person I had been discovering: bold, playful, aware of the attention I drew, and increasingly confident in it. The weekend marked the height of my private experiments. I walked through my neighborhood in heels and skirts I'd never dared to wear before. The thrill of being noticed, the subtle admiration in glances, sent shivers down my spine. I played with expressions in reflections, experimented with voices, and practiced gestures that enhanced the elegance and charm I was learning to embody. Every moment felt like a discovery. Even the way I laughed, soft and melodic, felt new, exhilarating. The hypnosis had been a catalyst, yes, but the transformation, the curiosity, the experimentation, it was mine. I was shaping it, exploring it, loving it in ways I hadn't anticipated. By Sunday evening, I felt a growing sense of empowerment. My reflection no longer startled me, it intrigued me. I smiled at the girl in the mirror, confident, poised, radiant. The hypnosis had opened a door, yes, but the courage to step fully through it was mine. I realized something profound. This was more than obedience, more than trying to be someone's favorite. It was about self-discovery, about exploring aspects of myself that had been dormant, waiting for permission to surface. And in that revelation, I found freedom, excitement, and an exhilarating sense of control over who I could be.